What do you think it means for Web3 to be represented at award shows like this, and what are the implications going forward?
I think this award shows that the gaming industry still recognizes blockchain as a viable option to build games.
To our listeners and readers that might not be necessarily super familiar with Angry Dynomites, could you tell us what that is?
We are basically integrating Web3 very deeply into the game, because all of the resources that we have, which are 30 plus resources, are actually tokens on chain that become tradable. The fundamentals of blockchain and what it could enable for players through ownership, through interoperability, haven't changed. And I think that's something what still is being recognized by the gaming industry as a whole. We really want to create like this sustainable player-owned economy spanning multiple games. That's the end goal for us, but the road to get there is still very unknown, but we will find out eventually.
Hello and welcome to another CCN interview. Today I'm joined with VOYA Games CEO and co-founder Oliver Löffler, and we're here to talk about Web3 gaming. How's it going, Oliver?
Hey, great to meet you, Eddie, and great to be on the show here.
Yes, we spoke a little while ago doing an interview about the Angry Dynomites game and everything that you're building around Craft World. Since then, you've managed to win an award at the Pocket Gamer Mobile Awards 2025, and you beat like Animoca and some other pretty big names. I saw FIFA was mentioned in the honorable mentions. How did it go? What caused you to be nominated, and what were the specifics that got you to win?
Yeah. So yeah, we were actually a bit surprised that we first got nominated, and even more surprised that we actually won the reward, because as you said, there were very big names like Animoca, Sandbox, Diva Rivals, and many Pixels, I think, as well. Many other very big brands in the Web3 gaming industry. And yeah, we've been under the radar, I think, for some time. We're developing more quietly on a testnet for the past recent years. But yeah, this year we made the announcement that we moved to Ronin, and the community was basically super excited about it, and also the press was picking up on it, and there was a lot of activations on X and in our Discord community, and so yeah, I guess through this like kind of breaking out of the under the radar zone into the whole wild Web3 world, basically sparked the interest of the Pocket Gamer guys to get us nominated. And then it was also up to our community to vote for us, because there was a public voting, so everyone could vote for the projects that they would like to see winning the award. And yeah, our community was super active, super excited about getting us there. And yeah, I think like big part of this is because of our great community, and really want to thank them, and we're super grateful to receive this award here. Yeah.
Yes, well, congratulations. It's well earned, and it's, you know, Web3 gaming is a super competitive space. But what was the specifics? It was for Angry Dynomites, the award specifically, yes? Or was it because it was best use of blockchain in a game?
Yeah, exactly. The category, so there are multiple categories in the Pocket Gamer Awards, and one of them was best use of blockchain. I think it was also the first time, or they rebranded it at least, that they're giving out such an award for blockchain in Web3. And I think it was not for the game specifically, but for the whole studio, for VOYA Games, which is basically our studio who develops Angry Dynomites and Craft World. And yeah, I think it mostly highlights the innovation around blockchain use and gaming.
Right, and was there like a specific criteria, or is there something that you think really stood out that VOYA was doing that the others weren't at the time, for mobile gaming specifically?
Yeah, so I think, not sure what exactly the criteria is. Probably you need to have a mobile version of your game because it's a Pocket Gamer Award, which is focused on mobile games. But yeah, we were always very kind of focused on the mobile platform. So our game is live on web, but also Android and iOS. And we always thought like, okay, in order to attract many users, we definitely need to give a good experience on the mobile platforms, because that's where most people are using nowadays. It's a huge market. It's way bigger even than PC and console together. And
Right.
therefore, yeah, we really tapped into this, optimized the game from the ground up to be available on mobile, but also to find ways on how we really can integrate Web3 and blockchain use into the game, which has never been seen before, and to build this also from the ground up and not just like kind of using existing mechanics and put some tokens on top. And I think there
Right.
we really innovating and bringing new ideas into the space.
Yeah. Well, this was a pretty big moment for Web3 gaming, I would say, in my opinion. Simply because it's an award show where you've got Balatro took best game, and that's a really popular trading card game, wild game that I've seen lots of videos of, and that's on PC as well. And you've got who else? Monopoly Go. They got best game innovation. Unreal Game for best game engine. So that's really, really huge names. What do you think it means for Web3 to be represented at award shows like this, and what are the implications going forward?
Yeah, I think it's like in general, Web3 gaming, I think especially beginning of this year went to some rough times. There were many studio closings, also from studios who raised a lot of money. But I think this award shows that the gaming industry still recognizes blockchain as a viable option to build games. And I think also for me and probably for the rest of the industry, like kind of the fundamentals of blockchain and what it could enable for players through ownership, through interoperability haven't changed. And I think that's something what still is being recognized by the gaming industry as a whole. I think there's just a lot of things that we still need to figure out on the blockchain side, and experimenting with onboarding, with sustainability, with economies. These are all challenges that haven't fully been solved yet. And that's also something which I think need to be solved in order to become really mass market. So I think it's something where the gaming industry still sees potential, but we still have a lot of work to do. And that's also something that we as VOYA Games really want to participate in, and to create some of the best practices and blueprints moving forward for the industry.
Sure, and I imagine after you secured the win, you were suddenly on a lot of people's radar. I mean, at the award show or at the after events or the events beforehand, were any of these sort of big names approaching you with curiosity? Did they already know who you were? Anything cool like that?
Of course, yeah. So, for example, Sebastian, which is one of the co-founders of Sandbox, he was at the award show as well, and we know each other for a long time. He's actually also an angel investor in VOYA Games. Yeah, he basically came after the show and said like, "Hey, huge congrats," and he really likes what we are doing as well. So very fair. And yeah, I think from the other Web2 names, I knew some people from the industry because my background is actually in Web2 gaming. So also congratulating me after the award. But I think from the Web2 side, it's still a bit too early to really go into partnerships here. So I think there's much more work we need to do on the Web3 side first.
Sure, but were they expressing a particular interest in Web3 gaming, or like, or in Voya Games more specifically? Like, what was the main sort of topic of conversation around Voya Games with these people?
Yeah, so it was mainly like just catching up what we're doing, what our success were that we're launching, and so on and so forth. So kind of an interest of what we as a studio do, and why we still there also in Web3, because that's as I said, like there's been a lot of shutdowns in the past and people moving away from it. And I basically tried to explain more like, okay, what we really see in blockchain and how to move forward. And for now, there's no interest in cooperating yet. I think like right now, Web3 is not the hot topic in gaming, but hopefully through our contributions and also explaining what we're doing, it might become more interesting again. It might spark the interest of big studios in the future again.
Cool. So I had a good a little play around with Angry Dynamites.
Good.
Pretty fun. I like it. It's pretty simplistic. I didn't get quite deep enough into it to start really exploring all the resource management and assets, the crazy stuff you can do on there. To our listeners and readers that might not be necessarily super familiar, with Angry Dynamites. Could you tell us what that is?
Yeah, so Angry Dynamite is a very casual game. As you said, it's involving a lot of resources that you manage. So basically, you have a bunch of raw resources that you can mine through NFTs, and then you can transform these resources into other ones. And we have more than 30 resources live. And in order to transform these resources, you need factories that you can upgrade. And then in the end, you can use the resources to build monuments with the whole community that will basically help with your gameplay in the future and give out special rewards and so on and so forth. So that's like kind of the game in a nutshell. There's a lot of nuances on top of this, but the most important part is that we are basically integrating Web3 very deeply into the game, because all of the resources that we have, which are 30 plus resources, are actually tokens on chain that become tradable. And we made it also super easy to do this in game. So you don't need to create a wallet, no account even. You can just basically execute everything. This way we also make it very approachable for the Web2, but also the Web3 crowd. And that's basically our goal then, to also onboard Web2 people through the game to Web3 by having fun.
Right, that's the big move at the moment. I'm seeing a lot of that in Web3 is okay, we can have the blockchain in the background, not have it in the foreground. And it's sort of beginning to merge quite seamlessly. Have you noticed anything from your players that are many coming in from Web2 that are unfamiliar? And when they get to that point of like, okay, I need to interact with the NFTs, I need to interact with these digital assets, are they confused, or is it just sort of quite seamless for them?
So they're interested, I would say. So we have some anecdotes from players who never had to do anything with Web3, finding our game in the Play or App Store, downloading it, having fun, and later, like, kind of see that there's, although it's quite seamless to experience, you still see that there are some blockchain mechanics, NFTs, there are tokens, and there are trading involved. And then they get curious and join our community through Discord, and then our community welcomes them and tells them a bit more about Web3. And we actually have one player who never had to do anything with Web3 and then got so excited about it through our game that he bought like many of our NFTs, is one of our most active and loyal community members by now. And that's exactly what we want to recreate more often with our game, like basically sparking the curiosity through the game and then let through the community work get them really onboarded to Web3 and excited about it.
Right, and then I guess more to that point, then how are things going with Project Voyager? Because that's sort of a supplementary application to the whole craft world ecosystem, right?
Exactly, yeah. So we see Project Voyager as its own game that is basically supplementary to Craftworld. So you can complete quests in Craftworld in order to gain, in this case, some crystals. You can use the crystals to upgrade an engineer to even get more crystals. And then in the season 1 of Project Voyager, it was live before the actual launch of our Craftworld game on Ronin. You could basically participate for a Dino coin drop, which is our game currency. And we basically will use it more often in other seasons coming up in the future to distribute rewards. So, for example, we could give out NFTs, we could give out more Dino coins, and so on and so forth. So the first season completed right before we moved to mainnet, and now we're planning out the next season for the end of the year.
And how was engagement during that sort of first phase?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like there were so many more new people coming in, having fun with Project Voyager, learning more about Angry Dynamites and Craftworld itself. The Discord went crazy. I think like there were 100 times more messages being sent than before, and also Twitter and X exploded. That was really great to see that through this, like the game itself is very focused on creating this virality effects in Web3, and that was working out super well. And a lot of these players that came through Project Voyager actually still in the game and participating. So it's not just that they're just farming something, but actually got to enjoy the game and stay there as well.
That's another cool thing about what I'm seeing a lot of in the industry is a lot of these titles they'll have like a core game, and then maybe they'll have a couple of tertiary applications, or they'll unload the API so developers can make things on the side. So you can still play, interact, like you said, resource farm, and even build for the game when you're not playing the game, or even allow people to play the game on behalf of you. And
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
like baked into the game. Where do
Yeah.
you see do you see anything cool like that happening? More happening with the craft world ecosystem? Is there anything you can announce here, or a little teaser?
Yeah, so first of all, there's that's the beauty of blockchain because a lot of the data is actually available on chain and everyone can pick it up without even needing any APIs or permissions. And we've seen a lot of developers picking up some of the data to provide like tools in order to identify like what are the best next moves in the game, how you can make most of the experience points and so on and so forth. So it's really great to see how much effort they're putting into this, and that's already something which I find super cool. But also our bigger vision is basically to build and now with Craftworld, we are basically sparking a player-owned economy with all of the resources, but we want to use some of the resources, or maybe all of the resources, in other games that we build. And we also want to encourage other game developers to basically use these resources to then create something in their games. And we are also willing, or like doing actually already, integrate resources or tokens from other projects into our game in order to then run events and so on. So we want to create like this token economy spawning multiple games all together, so they're all dependent on each other.
Do you think this is this sort of expanding ecosystems and like complex economies is sort of the near future for Web3, and that will be a trend for a while until something else comes along? Because for a lot the early phase of Web3, it was lacking in sustainability, and we spoke about this in our article with you. That sustainability in Web3 gaming was one of the bigger challenges, especially when you attach earning mechanics and whatnot to it. To what point can you see, like, for example, an ecosystem like Craftworld expanding to a point where then, okay, maybe that is time to move on to something else? Or how are these things intending to go on forever?
Yeah, that's at least our goal. So we really want to create like this sustainable layer-owned economy spanning multiple games. That's the end goal for us. And there's a lot of challenges that still lie ahead in order to make it sustainable, in order to attract more people to it. But we are willing to take these challenges and experimenting a lot in order to get things right. And we are learning every day through the feedback of the community, through suggestions of the community, from also things that are not always going right, but that's
Right.
expected. And I think we need to just like stay there and double down on what we think, how we envision like kind of the future of Web3 gaming and our ecosystem to play out, and not just basically get demotivated by smaller failures and so on and so forth. So we really want to create such an experience for our players, but the road to get there is still very unknown, but we will find out eventually.
Yeah, speaking of the road, I think obviously 2025 is a huge year for Web3 gaming, and things are accelerating quite fast, and there'll probably be quite a big shakeout next year. It's unlikely that the markets will continue to ride super high at the moment, and I think that's fine. And in 2017, you had some pretty big games like Axie Infinity and whatnot sort of do early launches, and then they've managed to adapt with the times and survive. Very few have, and now we've got these really big games: Star Atlas, Maple Story, and E Frontier. Um, are you intending to release any games sort of that big AAA quality, or compete for a share in that kind of market?
Yeah, so we won't tap into the AAA side. So we rather want to create this more kind of smaller game experience, which still is fun and engaging and so on and so forth, but also first fast to develop, doesn't cost so much, and we can experiment way faster. And on the other
Right.
hand, looking at the audience size, I think it's most likely way bigger than for AAA titles. So this way, we will continue to rather build out this more, kind of casual experiences to find the right hooks and experiment a lot in order to drive engagement and new players to Web3.
Cool. So on that note, then, is there any upcoming announcements or experiments that you may have on the way that you're able to share at the moment?
Yeah, we talked a bit about tokens, other games that we want to integrate, and we are actually launching on September 3rd our first event on the mainnet. And there we're partnering with another project called Ronke on Ronin. And this will be a very interesting experiment. We've run these events before on the testnet, but everything changes once you are on a real mainnet. And we're excited to see how it will play out, how the players may like it, and what new challenges arise from this one. But I expect a lot of great engagement and people having fun, and also being able to win some awesome prizes. So yeah, definitely check it out.
This is awesome to see. And are you nominated for any more awards this year?
Not that I know of. Maybe we will try to get it to also more categories in the Pocket Game Awards next year, which are also outside of just blockchain gaming. So yeah, let's see where we get to.
Amazing. Well, best of luck. And I promise to keep this short. So congratulations again. Really do
Thank you.
appreciate your time. If there's anything else you'd like to share with our listeners, now's a great time. If not, we can probably catch up in a few months or so, see how you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, just check out the game, see in live what we just talked about, see how these token economies can unfold, that it can actually be fun. You can follow us on X or join our Discord community, or go to angrydynometeslab.com where you can find all the links of the game itself. And yeah, just join our community if you have any feedback, suggestions, or just want to connect. Please come. We are always welcoming everyone who is interested.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you as well.